Anna, thank you for that. Nearly 24 people are running for Congress in Tuesday's special election to fill Javier Becerra's 34th district seat in California. Becerra, I should say, left the House of Representatives after he was appointed to replace now Senator Kamala Harris as California's Attorney General. Experienced politicians, lawyers, activists, and even a rocket scientist are all in the running. And that rocket scientist, Tracy Van Houten, joins us now from California. Tracy, thanks for giving us a bit of your time today. It's unique for someone in your position to be doing what you're doing. And I know for some, the election of President Trump, after what was a very divisive campaign, was inspiration for running for office. As a scientist, what was the trigger for you?
Well, sure, and thanks so much for this opportunity tonight. It's great to be with you this evening. For me, I've actually been considering a run for political office for quite a while, but obviously November was a motivator, and when the seat became available, I decided it was time to stand up for science and reason and give those the seat at the table in Washington, D.C. We've gone into this land of alternative facts, and it's time to have some science and reason sitting there to defend it.
Now, those seem like veiled references to the current president. He has referenced climate change during the campaign as a hoax put on by the Chinese. What specifically have you heard from the president that gives you concern and is fueling your run?
Well, you can certainly just see what happened when Trump's budget came out. The science budget for research, for earth science, something that I'm very passionate about. In fact, I spent a few years working on a project that was a satellite to study climate change and the water content in our soil. So I know that climate change is real, it's not a hoax, and we need to have people in leadership who believe it and who are solving that problem.
Now, according to the Congressional Research Service, out of the 535 congressional representatives, there are only 3 scientists, only 8 engineers, and 14 physicians. But if you rewind the clock centuries, many of, the founding fathers were scientists. Ben Franklin, George Washington, John Adams, so many others. Why do you think that in general our congressional representatives have moved away from being scientists and thinkers, and rather it's moved towards lawyers?
Sure, that's an excellent question. Actually, as scientists and engineers, it's ingrained in us that we should be apolitical. We are the ones who are supposed to produce the data, and other people are supposed to make the policies. But right now, that's not working for us, and so politics is really dragging us into this fight. As an engineer and somebody who has worked my entire career to answer, humankind's largest questions about the universe, I think it's really time that we take back science and engineering and demand that those have the things that are helping to drive our policies.
And you mentioned scientists kind of typically being apolitical. Do you think that's a reason it has prevented many from running, from getting into the political fray, from choosing a political party? Has that also been something that has kept scientists out?
Yes, absolutely. I think it has. It's often said to me, don't you think that science should be above politics? But I think it's important that we have representation, really. Not only am I an engineer, I'm also a mom. And as a woman, I don't see my views represented well in Congress. Actually, I would be the first ever woman engineer in Congress. And women, in general, make up 19% of our Congress, but obviously 51% of the population. So we need to be represented there when we're talking about women's reproductive rights and the wage gap and the national policy for paid family leave. Women need to be at the table, which even just recently we've seen pictures coming out of Washington that show us that we're far from equal.
Well, what do you think those from the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, math, what do you think they have to offer in the debate that takes place in Congress that the lawyers who are currently there cannot? I mean, lawyers know how to pass laws. They know the intricacies of the structure of government and how certain policies are crafted. What do you have to offer that's more beneficial?
Certainly. Well, so I've worked on Curiosity, the rover that's on Mars, and I'm now working on the next rover to go to Mars. And through solving these impossible questions, I have really proven myself as a complex problem solver, as somebody who has built diverse teams. I'm a world-leading expert in a field called collaborative engineering, and that's where we bring diverse folks together to solve these complicated problems. And we do it with a path that's actually an implementable, step-by-step plan for how we're going to do things. And I think that that vision and that strategic focus is lacking right now.
All right, Tracy Van Houten, from solving impossible questions to attempting to bring progress to a place that knows gridlock very well. Best of luck to you in your campaign for the 34th district there in California. Thanks for your time today.